Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishnan, and this is also one of the part of the Congress Party achievement. I will take one example. Basically, one person told that basically from where basically each and every news basically are getting, and how basically Congress Party can create this news channel basically. Then he told that assume that there in India basically there are 10 news channel. Assume that there are 10 news channel in India. So from where basically this all basically gets broadcast in the television and in the websites basically in the YouTubes and then in the other web series is where basically. Then the one person told that if it's a Congress, then basically they might have placed each and every news channel in one building only. What? Yeah. So each and every news channel basically they are basically in one building, and they that one building basically mostly might be in one city only. Then basically he was shocked basically how it's possible basically. Few people says that Aaj Tak is in basically the Delhi. One person is telling is that India news channel is in Bangalore. One person is telling that uh, um, Russian news channel basically is getting operated from Mumbai. Then basically that person told that it's not possible basically. Then the another person told that this is about the Indian news channel. What about the other news channel basically which gets broadcast in India? Then he told that basically the India whatever news channel basically are getting broadcast, that all are basically connected with India, India land only basically. India land means each and every basic they says that basically this news channel is basically getting broadcast from Russia. This broadcast is from USA, but mostly all basically news channel basically are getting broadcast from India only. Then what about this news anchor basically? Then basically they told that they are basically from one city only basically. From one city basically, then basically that city might be famous city. Then basically he told that no basically it's बॉलीवुड का मेकअप का कमाल है. In Hindi basically he told that बॉलीवुड वालों का मेकअप का कमाल है. That basically they changed the entire face of one news anchor only basically. Then basically he was shocked basically that one news channel, entire news channel basically get broadcast from one building. Then how secure that building will be? He was basically just shocked basically. Whatever laptop basically thing, each and everything basically the any person is doing, they basically they do the broadcast of the news channel. Like this basically they do and each and everything broadcast basically, and they are safe basically. They are feeling that they are safe in the news building, that one building basically. Then basically they told that they have got the full police protection basically of that particular city basically. What? Yeah, because nobody in India basically might be knowing that from this building basically the news channel basically they are basically giving the news broadcast basically. Then basically how it's possible basically that how basically you track this, that from this one building basically the entire India news channel basically are getting broadcast. How's that possible basically? One people is telling that the news channel is basically from Noida. One people is telling it's coming from Bangalore. One person is telling that it's coming from Uttar Pradesh. One person is coming it's coming from Bihar. One person is telling that it's coming from Madhya Pradesh. One person is telling that it's coming from Delhi. Then how you can tell that this all India news broadcast, sorry, all big news channels basically are coming from one building? They are sitting at one building and then they are basically giving the news. That is also basically the part of the Congress basically. They says that what we basically give the news, that only basically you have to display in front of the television. No other news basically is supposed to be broadcast in the television. So you can just imagine the dangerous level basically the Congress are ruling the India. They are actually not ruling the India. They are basically like Hitler, basically. How Hitler was ruling the Germany. Same, it might possible that Hitler has created the German Congress. That also is possible, right? That also might be possible. So this idea basically, all entire Congress idea basically, mostly people says that it's of Hitler idea. Hitler only can think up to that level. One entire India country's news channel basically is in one building basically. Then you can just imagine which type of brain basically it's one only, one building. He just have to handle that one building only. So he just have to handle that one building only. And basically he told that in that city basically earthquake doesn't comes. In that building basically earthquake doesn't comes. And basically no, that's why basically it's that entire news channel basically in that city basically. They are feeling that they are very safe. Like this basically they are paying money to the local city kingdoms basically. That is basically the Raja Sahi. They are paying the money to the Raja Sahi. Raja Sahi means king basically of that city basically. They are not giving money to the government also. They might be giving the money, but they are telling that we are direct. We are directly giving money to the king. No, basically we don't want any government. We don't want anyone. So just imagine basically which type of groups are also of the news channel group. Then basically the reporters basically they are basically real. They are basically in the stand. They are in Bangalore. They are in Delhi. They are in Hyderabad. They are in Vadodara city. They are in Surat. They are in Ahmedabad. They all are real basically. But the real basically with the broadcast basically where the television happens. Television ka broadcast happens in the from the television. Sorry, from the cameras and from that live basically. That basically happens from one building basically. So you can just imagine the mentality basically, you can say, of the news creator basically, who actually created the news channel, who actually started the news channel. Means started, not ended actually. How he started it. So you can just imagine basically one building, entire India news channels are basically. So you just have to handle that building only. Police just have to handle that one building. That's all. Congress party have to just handle one building only. So you can just imagine the mentality of the Congress and the mentality of the Hitler. How basically he thinks that just place entire India news channel groups basically into one building. That's all. Just you have to handle that one building only. Nothing else basically you have to handle. Rest of thing basically that reporters basically are going to handle. This has just have to send the videos basically, that also basically they sends to WhatsApp, or there might be some another communication channel basically they might have created. Mostly they might have created some another communication channel. Mostly basically I'm telling you. But that also for special reporters basically who actually really know that all news anchor basically are giving anchoring from one building, and that city basically is safe because they are telling that we are giving money directly to the kingdom. And they are telling that we are tracking each and every house, each and every house laptop, each and every computers, whatever what the person is doing in mobile, what he's typing in mobile, what he is writing in draft, what he is writing in Google, what he is writing in Gmail, what he is writing in mail basically, which basically the mail basically which he is going to be scheduled, which he has scheduled also. Up to that level, news channel basically they are tracking it. But they are forgetting that they actually forget that their things are also basically tracked by some group. That is basically one building. Entire news channel basically is connected with that one building basically. So where might be that building basically? Where might be that building basically? So how basically the Congress thinks basically? Just you just imagine basically how the Congress is thinking. Sorry, how the Hitler is thinking. Which kind of thinking basically Hitler has? Because he has created the Congress, right? And Congress has created the BJP, Aam Aadmi Party, Samajwadi Party, Basapa, Mayawati. These all basically real people I am talking about. In real, basically, lots of people says that there are hundreds of Shah Rukh Khans basically. There are hundreds of Amitabh Bachchans also. They are basically duplicates basically. But few people says that in real, basically the shows also basically sometimes duplicates basically goes, and you can't track that also basically. You can't track that particular person also basically. But real Shah Rukh Khan is only one Shah Rukh Khan. Real Shah Rukh Khan is only one Shah Rukh Khan. So like this same way basically the entire news channel basically is the creation of Congress party, and Congress party is a creation of Hitler group. Few people says that Russia is also creator of Hitler basically, and few people says that Hitler basically believes in Sri Krishna God, and few people says that Hitler still exists basically. He basically have a Ashirwad of Sri Krishna God. That's why basically he still exists. So you can just imagine basically how dangerous it is. Entire police department basically handles by Hitler basically. That also basically he says. But 300 year basically how human can stay basically. You can just imagine. So there might be some magic basically. God magic you can say. Or it might possible. Few people say that Hitler has died long before basically. Few people say that Rajiv Gandhi also died. Few people says that Rajiv Gandhi was just a one role basically who was playing by one group basically. And few people says that he's staying in Dubai, Ajman somewhere. Rajiv Gandhi role person basically who actually really played the role of Rajiv Gandhi. And basically few people says that Rajiv Gandhi just is one role basically who actually played one role of one Rajiv Gandhi person basically. And the person basically who played the role of India, that means the Indian Prime Minister are just playing one role. That person was telling that he's just played one role basically of the Indian Prime Minister. He was shocked basically that how is possible that that means also Mahatma Gandhi has also played one role. Mahatma Gandhi has also played one role. So this entire world is one theater. This entire world is one theater. He told that. Literally he was basically shocked basically what actually he is telling that. Currently UAE war is ongoing. So he is telling that the person basically who played the role of Rajiv Gandhi, he is staying in Ajman, Dubai, and currently war is ongoing in UAE. So just imagine basically the clear creation of the Hitler group basically. So how basically Hitler thinks, how Hitler basically thinks. Few people say that still Hitler exists somewhere because if this task happens, that means only Hitler can do. If that task happens, then only Jawaharlal Nehru can do. Means their blood only can think up to that level basically. Same way the news channel basically, there is only one building in this India basically who is doing the broadcast of the news channel across the world. So that one building only you have to handle. That's all. You don't have to handle the hundreds of buildings basically. So each and every news channel basically, how critical they are, you can just imagine. In front of you, basically the news anchor will pass, but you can't recognize that she's news anchor. You will say no, yeah, basically, but her makeup basically has gone basically because when she was doing the news anchoring that time, her makeup was basically totally different. So you can just imagine basically the creation which the Hitler basically has done. These all are basically Hitler creation. And the scientists basically told that on last day of world, Hitler is going to exist. That is 100% because lots of conditions are connected with Hitler and his creation. Because that scientist told that he's doing plan from many years basically. It's not a 1 or 2 years plan basically. He has waited lot to do this type of wall plan basically. So uh, he's not going to what to say basically. So scientists are also basically up to what level they think basically. One example basically I have taken that war which is basically currently ongoing. That is just a part of Earth planet is moving, and the scientists basically just want a small sound effect. For that basically started the war basically. So that scientist basically is created creation of Hitler. That scientist has created Hitler also. Just to get the sound effect in this side of the universe. He basically started war in Gaza and Israel. Then basically he told that the Kargil war where basically the Pakistan and India was basically fight was ongoing. That was also sound effect. Then he told that yeah basically that was also one sound effect that was required basically because Earth planet was moving right side of the universe. That time basically the sound effect was required because he told that basically there are many planets basically. If you give sound effect in this side basically, then that planet will never come near you. That scientist actually told that because there is the attraction basically of the planets to planets which basically is ongoing. So this all basically the news anchor basically, if anybody in the news anchor basically might be knowing, then you can just imagine basically what are the things going to happen. If anybody says that just for sound effect basically the war is started, then you can just imagine basically what are the things going to happen. The Kargil war basically which the India and Pakistan basically has done, that was just to give the sound effect in one place, and they want some lighting effect also just in universe basically, so that the planet basically which was going to attract to that planet basically that side only basically India and Pakistan land basically area was basically going to attract to that planet, going to attract when that planet is going Earth planet is going to move that in right side of the universe. That time basically that much land basically was going to attract some planets basically, so that there should not be any attraction. For that basically the war has started, and few and war here the main thing is the war has started, that's okay, but which type of equipment basically the war is going to take, that is the main dangerous thing, that is the more dangerous. There basically only scientists can do this, that this all the equipments basically is required, so that then only basically the attraction is not going to happen. So scientists was telling up to that level basically. The all basically discussion, basically all people basically were 7 to 8 people were doing the discussion. This all discussion was going on between 7 to 8 people. They all become basically mad. Just to basically the planet is not supposed to attract with this India and Pakistan land. For that basically the war has started, and that also special equipment basically was used. This missile, that missile, and that missile was basically created from that particular chemicals. Then only the attraction will not happen. So you can just imagine the dangerous level the world actually is. Not actually dangerous level, very dangerous level. Because if universe will people basically will say that this particular country is attracting that all planets, then basically you can just imagine. Due to that just one country, the whole world is going to suffer. And mostly it is going to happen. And it might possible the world is already created by set of certain groups that basically everybody knows. That is UN group, basically United Nation groups. They have given all the approvals of the creation of the world. So when the world, which part is going to attract, that universe group only is going to decide that if world is going to move that side, right side, then which country is going to attract, and due to that attraction, is the whole world is going to suffer or the war is going to start in that particular country. So whenever the Earth planet is moving to that direction, that time any planets are going to attract. That means the creation error basically has exist by the creator of the world. Sorry, create here basically by default creator of the world is already came into picture, right? So creator of the country basically, for example in India basically, who is the prime minister? That's Narendra Damodar Modi. Sorry, Shri Narendra Modi Damodar Modi. So that means he will be responsible if in future basically the India is going to attract any land basically, then basically India supporting country are there who basically will start the war. That is basically India and China, who basically always supports India, says that we are always with India, we are always with India, we always support India. China says that we will die for India, we will give entire ever China country to India, and we will die but we will save India. Like this basically they say. For that basically they are always ready with for war. Why actually the enemies are created in this earth planet basically, lots of people says that why the enemies basically are created. Then basically says that if the universe basically, sorry, the earth planet is moving at the particular direction, where basically if any of the country basically, mostly basically any of the country will 100% do the attraction, because the creation is happening like that way only, that one country war has to be happen. And always basically 365 days war happens in this earth planet, because there are reasons basically the creation basically. So there is no 100% creation. Any of the country basically say that we have created 100% country, then it's 100% wrong basically, because if war starts in one of the country basically, that means it's connected with whole world basically. Because if Gaza and Israel has started the war, that means Gaza and Israel basically, Gaza basically and Israel basically, creation is also basically used by the whole world. So there basically also creation might have happened. So their creation also 100% is going to affect. So their destruction basically is also 100% going to happen. That basically depends upon the Prime Minister of the Hindustan, Prime Minister of the Pakistan basically, Prime Minister of the China basically, Prime Minister of the Japan basically. They basically will decide. And if they will not decide, then army will decide automatically. Army will say you have not decided, so we have already decided. So they start the war. They start the war basically. So army people are more intelligent than prime minister. Few people says that also basically. Army groups are more intelligent than the presidents. Then the few people says that why basically president basically is required. Why don't directly army rules the country? Few people says this also. Then why basically directly army don't rule the country basically like Pakistan basically. In Pakistan, sometime basically directly army rules the world. Sorry, army rules the Pakistan. That type of also basically word basically lots of people say. So from that one news channel basically or building basically we connected up to this level that army sometime decides that we are going to rule the country, and when they says that we are going to rule the country, then basically you can just imagine, because you have not done your work basically. That's why basically army are telling that we are going to rule the country because you have not done your duties. So whenever the so here the main thing is the army group basically say that we know that earth planet is going to move to this direction, and in that direction basically the universe group are going to attract, sorry, the in universe area basically these all are planet going to attract to these all countries. So all army basically are not going to interfere in their country basically. Each country basically have their own army group basically. So they basically knows, they knows, or basically the prime minister of India basically, sorry, the prime minister of each and every country basically and president of each and every country, they knows that this planet is going to attract to this country. Currently mostly basically the Gaza and Israel might is fighting. That means some area might have attracted, or might be possible that whenever the earth planet is going to move, that area might be going to attract to universe. That's why they finish the area. They can't change the area, right? Because it's already created. The area is already created. The areas are already created. So the creation basically of the city is the most dangerous part basically. That's why basically the IITs, IIMs, IAS officers basically the big level post group basically, the corporators, MLAs basically, why they are basically doing in the what they are doing in the city basically. They are taking the monies, they are just moving in the red light cars basically. Actually they are doing this all dangerous task basically, and in this basically the prime minister is by default involved. If one basically small house is also prepared in the particular area, then prime minister is responsible, because it might possible that that particular house only might attract that entire universe. It might possible basically, anything is possible, anything is possible. That's why basically the IT people basically say that we are tracking each and every objects basically in this world basically. That is basically the TCS says that. TCS says that we are basically having the each and every information. Few company like Nelson company basically. He basically is the data science master basically. He says that he is basically having the each and every information of the attraction object. But basically attraction object basically up to that level information basically IT people might not be having. But IT people might be having that information that this object is created and up to what level basically this object is created. But the attraction basically which is going to happen of the planets, that basically they basically might not be having. That basically by default the uh, uh, satellite group basically, that is the software satellite software company basically they might be having. So by default, it is satellites group basically, satellite software companies. So if I say that one satellite basically is connected with 100 software companies, then basically it would be 100% correct basically. If I say like this, that there are basically in this world, basically assume that there are 11 server companies basically, and in these 11 server companies are basically connected with whole world software companies. So we will go little bit more detail. 11 server software company basically, who are basically having this, who created the servers basically, they basically say that we are connected with this satellite, we are connected with these satellites, and they say that this satellite company basically is connected with this server company, and this server companies basically are connected with this all software companies. Then also it would not be 100% correct, it would be 100% correct basically, right? And by default server companies like IBM, Microsoft, these are basically by default connected with the satellites group basically. So that satellite basically gives the um, identification basically, that this country basically is going to attract when the earth planet is going to move to this side of the universe. They have the data basically, right? They have the data basically. So by default they only sends the data to any of the software company basically, that this country is going to attract, so do the necessary actions. So they will try to solve the problem basically. They will try to solve the problem by updating by seasons, but it takes basically time. That's why basically they do the updation by season, by rain, by winter season, by hot season. Like this basically they try to solve the problem through season. In Hindi basically that is called mosam. But mostly problem doesn't solve basically, because the entire country is already created. So 99% of the problem doesn't solve. 1% basically, if it's a lucky basically, lucky country basically, you can say, then basically the problem gets solved. There where basically universe also basically bless that country. Universe also bless that country. What is this also blessed country basically? That also we are going to say how universe is going to bless the country, so that the country will never get end. So what is that basically? For example, few people say that India is the blessed country. So nobody in this world basically will, nobody in this universe basically is going to attract the India country, because India country is a blessed country and created by creation is done in very powerful way basically. So that India is never going to attract any of the planets. So this basically we are going to see in detail basically what actually these all things are basically. So this is also one of the part, that is basically creation of the Congress party, because Congress has created India, right? Congress has created India, and they have created the software companies, and each and every employees working and not working, they are responsible. So in next part basically we are going to see what is the creation of Congress party and how the attraction of universe basically is going to affect, and currently the war basically which has started and which basically has done, like Kargil war basically, that was also part of the attraction of the universe basically. We are going to see in detail of this what actually the attraction of the earth planet is of this.